Discuss the role of international terrorist groups on Russian soil. We're now joined by Igor Khokhlov, a political analyst and co-author of The Architecture of Euro-Atlantic Security. Good to see you, sir. So, what does the recent attack and the government's handling of it say about the current situation in the Caucasus, do you think?
You know, both federal and local authorities have handled the situation pretty well. I've been studying the issue of the local separatism for a couple of decades, and I have to say that Russian security forces have never been as effective as they are now. You know, those militants have nothing to do with national liberation. It's very important to understand. Mostly, those are people who are coming from other countries, from the Central Asian area.
It's interesting you say that, because the Speaker of the Chechen Parliament, he actually said the attack was organized from abroad. What do you think about such claims? Go on with that.
Actually, the attack is organized from abroad. You see, terrorism is a global activity, like in our globalized world. It's maybe the most globalized activity. So whenever we talk about Afghanistan, terrorist activity in Pakistan, in Kashmir, in Iraq, in Chechnya, that's all. You see one global network of terrorist groups, and they have think tanks that organize the whole process. It's a very organized criminal activity.
Okay, so you mentioned Iraq and Afghanistan in this issue here, but how does the ongoing instability in Iraq and Afghanistan affect the stability of the Caucasus, do you think?
You know, the situation in Afghanistan now is a pending disaster, and Afghanistan is quite likely to fall under the rule of Talibs, and Pakistan is quite possible to follow. This could have disastrous consequences not only for the region, for Afghanistan and Pakistan itself, but it could have further implications all over the world, including North Caucasus, because those terrorist organizations, they see Chechnya, Ingushetia and other republics as the gateway into the bigger Caucasus and further expansion into Europe. So in this context, the ongoing war in Afghanistan, and Americans are likely to lose this war quite soon, could have disastrous consequences all over the world. And what we have seen today in Grozny, you see, it's actually one of the consequences of instability in the whole region.
All right, so you talk about instability and terrorism on a global scale. Let's continue to talk about the broader aspect here. What other militant groups are we talking about in terms of international ties to Caucasian terrorism?
Actually, the most famous group is, of course, Al-Qaeda, which has now spread its influence all over the world, including Iraq. You know, in Saddam Hussein period, there was no Al-Qaeda in Iraq. You see, okay, Saddam Hussein was a tyrant himself. He didn't need any competition. But after Americans invaded Iraq, Al-Qaeda has taken foot there. And also there are other extremist movements, even I get more violent than Al-Qaeda or Talibs, like the Islamic movement of Uzbekistan. Now the Uzbek President Karimov have pushed them out of his country into Afghanistan, but they're likely to come back after the fall of Karzai regime. And it could have serious implications for the whole world.
All right. Igor Khokhlov, co-author of The Architecture of Euro-Atlantic Security and political analyst from the Institute of World Economy and International Relations.